Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's webinar, Export Support to Go Global. My name's Emily Smith, and I'm chairing today's session. So today is a webinar which has been brought to you by the UK Export Academy, Department for Business and Trade, and Experience UK. And the aim of this session this morning is to really help Experience UK members joining this webinar to understand what services are available to them to help their export growth through Experience UK, through the UK Export Academy, and through the Department for Business and Trade. And we really hope to cover today a kind of background into the experience economy and the UK's part in that, how to access government support to really flourish in your export activities, to go over the very rich offering from the UK Export Academy, and I'm very shortly going to hand over to Vera, and to look at the real benefits that can be gained from export activity. So today's panel comprises Vera Grantham, who is Export Trade Advisor at the UK Export Academy. Morning, Vera.
Morning.
Richard Parry, who is the Experience Economy Lead at the Department for Business and Trade. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, all.
Pete Chapman, who is the Creative Industry Specialist Advisor at the Department for Business and Trade. Morning, Pete.
Good morning.
And Ian Clappison, who is CEO of our very own Experience UK. Good morning, Ian.
Morning.
So we're going to, the format of today's presentation will be to run through, each participant has a short presentation of their areas of expertise and how their part of the jigsaw can help UK companies. If you could hold on to your questions and type them into the chat as we go, we'll have a Q&A section right at the end. So as things come up and you hear people's thoughts, then please write them in the chat and we'll harvest those and deal with them at the end. So I think that's it for housekeeping, and it gives me great pleasure to hand first over to Vera Grantham, Export Trade Advisor at the UK Export Academy, who will take us through the Export Academy's offer for UK businesses. And I will mute myself. Thank you so much, Vera.
Yes, thank you, Emily. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. So yeah, I'm Vera Grantham. I'm an Export Academy Trade Advisor. I'm based in the northwest of England. In terms of my background, I worked in the private sector. I worked in many exporting businesses. I also worked for a number of years in the Chamber of Commerce. And more recently, I joined the Department for International Trade. I was an international trade advisor before joining the Export Academy team last year. So today, what we're going to cover is what we are, who we are, and what we've got to offer in terms of help and support. So I will tell you about the Export Academy, and my colleagues Pete and Richard will introduce you to the wider DBT support network that's out there for you as well. And DBT offers service that can put you in contact with buyers, agents, FCDO staff, contractors all around the world. So we're totally global in every sense of the word. And opportunities for exporting are limitless. So there should be no reason for anyone with true export aspirations not to achieve them. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to talk today about, first of all, UK Export Academy. So who we are and what we offer to help you. So we are one of the lesser known services offered by the government, although with every day we pick up more companies, so the word is spreading around. And since its launch in September 2020, we have supported over 10,000 businesses, and we've delivered nearly 1,400 training sessions, and we are free. So I'm glad that I've got your attention now. So we also talk about an export journey. So we all heard this. So you know this guy who started his business, and very early on he started selling loads of widgets to the other side of the world in New Zealand. So is he just lucky, or could you do the same? So how did you do it? How did you find his customers? How did you decide on New Zealand? It's not that easy, but with our help, it becomes achievable. We also introduce you to the wider DBT and government support. So you can start the journey with the Export Academy, but as you grow in experience and confidence and commitment, we can then introduce you to the wider DBT offering. And we've got 5,000 staff situated across the globe that can assist with your trading efforts. And so that's the great workforce with a whole lot of market experience, and they can help you explore opportunities and find partners and customers in various countries. And we also discuss how and where you might look for business opportunities in your sector. Next slide, please. So let's start at the beginning. So who are we? What is the Export Academy? So brought to you by the Department for Business and Trade, the UK Export Academy is a free training program. It is a free service and it's been designed to give British businesses the confidence and the know-how to sell overseas. So our training program focuses on the essential skills required to sell overseas. And this is offered mainly online through webinars, but also we run some live events. Next slide, please. So who can benefit from the Export Academy? In a single word, everyone, because we will work with anybody in the UK who is looking to take the business to overseas markets. And if I want to specify here, so we work with new exporters, people who have never even considered exporting, and perhaps there may be a few of you on the call today who have never exported before. So it could be also that you are an occasional exporter. Perhaps you've got an email from somebody abroad saying that they want to buy your product or your service. Somehow you've managed to service that order, so you've made money, and now you are looking to sell more to that customer or that market and other markets. So you want to develop that strategic approach rather than doing it on a sort of ad hoc basis. Or it could be that you are an experienced exporter and you're looking to upskill your staff. By coincidence, I just had an email from somebody a couple of days ago who've been through the Export Academy. So they came to the Export Academy last year. They're already exporting now. So they've taken on some new staff and they've referred them to the Export Academy just to bring them into line with what they need to know about exporting. And as the last one says, anybody wishing to brush on their export skills. Next slide, please. So what can you expect when you sign up for the Export Academy? How can you benefit? So firstly, we can give you direction and insight on many areas. For instance, which country you might choose to export to. How you decide on your target country, how to price your product or service and maximize your profit potential, which way to send your goods. We will also talk you through procedures for dealing with customs so you can avoid costly mistakes and delays at customs. We will also help you develop your export plan. I mean, it sounds very grand, but in reality, it's just an expansion of your existing domestic business plan. And we'll consider things like production capacity if you're selling goods. Who will you sell through? Will you sell direct to customer or maybe through an agent or distributor or franchise? How you market yourself or your company in new markets. And we'll also talk you through health checking your business to make sure that you've got the time and the finance and resources to build your export business. And also, do you have the need? Because if your order book is already full in the UK, is it worth for you looking abroad? You can also gain access to the wider offering from DBT. So Pete will tell you more about it, but I just want to mention briefly, as I said previously, we employ over 5,000 overseas staff, all looking to pursue your best interest in the export market and to give you information and guidance based on their local market knowledge. and it's free, and that's a real cost saving, because to buy that in an open market would be expensive. And also, you know, once you've enrolled on our program, so your commitment of time will show that you're serious about exporting, and this can be seen as a big self-endorsement, and it helps them to take you seriously. So we all only have so much time to give, so we tend to prioritize those that we think that we can really help. Next slide, please. So now I just want to talk you through the Export Academy offering. So our program is offered at 3 levels. So firstly, we've got Essentials. So this is the Essential series of webinars where we take a look at the key areas that you need to consider in order to take your business to overseas markets. So we consider the basics, like market research, for instance. So it's so often overlooked, but it's definitely an essential, because there's no point trying to sell if there is no demand for your product or service. We talk about Incoterms that you use, how to get your goods through customs without delays, because this is the last thing that anybody wants. And also for service companies, we're looking at how you should give the full attention to the detail to ensure that your intangible offering goes rewarded. So that's a series of 10 webinars, and we run them on a rolling basis. And you can dip in and out at any time. And recordings are also sent out afterwards, as well as the slides. So these essential webinars, they're more suitable for new and inexperienced exporters. And at the next level, we run masterclasses. So it's stepping up to specific areas like e-commerce, website optimization, funding, VAT issues, pitching your sale, and many more. So these masterclasses are more suitable for companies that are already exporting. We also run markets and sector events, and this is another step up. So we take a microscopic look at key areas like free trade agreements, specific sector opportunities in many sectors like space, defense, agriculture, creative industries, so in your particular sector. And quite often we invite export champions to our sessions, and these are companies who've been successful in exporting, to hear from people in your sector, to hear from them about their experiences, about their challenges and how they overcame them. Just a few weeks ago, I was at the food and drink session with Warner's Distillery and Beanie's Coffee. So that was very insightful and very useful stuff. Next slide, please. So now let's take a brief look at the export journey as an overview, and perhaps look at it through the fresh eyes of an artist that I met recently. So he wants to get exporting, and he feels that his particular style will be more appreciated overseas. So when we met, we started talking about the above areas. And by the end of our conversation, he felt empowered because he suddenly had some direction, and he was seeing his artwork as an investment. So he's lost his fear of price. So we spoke about an export plan, because he had all these ideas floating around, but nothing on paper. We talked about market research, who are his competitors, where are they trading, what are they charging. So we talked about his route to market. Will he sell direct through like an e-commerce platform, or maybe use an agent or galleries? And we also discussed pricing, because knowing the real value of your product or service is really important. And he sells quality and exclusivity. So therefore, for people to buy his work, it would be an investment for them. He also needs to think about marketing. And I suggested looking maybe at his competitors. Where are his competitors trading, and who are they trading with? And how do they market their products? And so that would be maybe a good starting point. And we also talked about delivering. How will he deliver to his customers? So he needs to think about this before he starts selling. And also, how will he manage his presence in overseas markets? Maybe display his work at exhibitions, for instance. So this was just with this sort of simple half-hour conversation. So we started to get some traction and some direction. So at Export Academy, we will guide you through all these steps, and we will help you understand and consider them all. And the first step to start your export journey confidently is to have a plan, as each export journey requires a solid export plan. And this will help you navigate the different stages of selling your goods or services overseas. So looking at this slide, you can see many of these important factors and considerations that will be a massive part of your journey into exporting. Next slide, please. Okay, so first of all, let me give you some facts about UK exports. So the UK exported 664 billion pounds worth of goods and services last year, but only around 1 in 10 UK businesses currently export. So it is fair to say that if it becomes 2 in 10, then we will be well over 1 trillion mark, which is a government target for 2030. And the benefits of exporting are clear. So unlocking the UK exporting potential will help level up the country and boost the UK economy. Only in 2022, exports supported 6.5 million jobs across the UK. Also, exporters pay higher wages, 7% higher than national average, and exporting companies tend to be more profitable, more resilient, and more successful overall. Also, businesses who export goods are on average 21% more productive than non-exporting businesses. But it wouldn't be fair not to mention challenges. So according to the recent Alibaba Group report from 2023, and they conducted a survey with 3,000 businesses. So the main challenges facing businesses were economic and political instability, lack of cultural awareness, regulatory barriers, lack of exporting expertise, difficulty to find a trusted export partner, and also a lack of demand for products in overseas markets. So now we can't overcome all of these, as you will need to do that, but we can certainly help to unlock the answers to such uncertainties. And you can see more challenges on this slide. As an example, for example, let's take cultural differences. Sometimes it's as simple as the significance of different colors in different cultures. One of our export academy companies was trying to sell white baby blankets in South Korea. And what they didn't know, that the white color is associated with death in that part of the world. I also would like to mention the right attitude. So you need to be totally focused, methodical, and motivated. And you also need to be prepared to take risks and take a few knocks along the way. But with the right attitude, you should be able to overcome most of these challenges that exporting might throw at you. Next slide, please. So fortunately, we're here to help and support you. And now we just listen to what other businesses have to say about us. So there is a little video here that we're going to watch.
By doing it, you are reducing the risk within your business, spreading that risk, opening up new markets, increasing your turnover.
Get advice. And you don't want to be wasting your time when that expertise is available for you to talk to.
Okay, thank you. Right, so we go to the next slide, please. So if you think that you're ready to start exporting, and you are new to export business, then we recommend that you attend our Essentials webinars. So these are the modules that we currently have. And I think of Essentials as like a jigsaw, really. So you need all the pieces to see and to understand the full picture. It would be beneficial to attend all 10 sessions, but you don't have to, and you are able to sort of dip in and out as you wish, because you might want to prioritize according to your requirements and according to your business needs. And also, if you register for a session and you can't make it, then we'll send you the recording and the slides so you can watch it at your own leisure. Plus, if you're a service business, and many of you on the call today probably are selling services, we also have modules at 9 and 10 of our essential modules, and they focus exclusively on what you need to know for successfully exporting your services across the globe. And next slide, please. And on this slide, this is just a snapshot of sessions that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. So there is one example of Essentials here, a session on customs procedures. And there are also masterclasses and sector and market events on that list. So the Export Academy pulled together a variety of subject-specific masterclasses that cover topics such as finance, intellectual property, free trade agreements, digital e-commerce, and you can see examples of such events in our schedule. And also our sector teams, they will deliver webinars covering various topics from regulations, trade shows, industry-specific funding, business opportunities. So on the 20th of September, for instance, we'll have an event for education businesses. So Richard will tell you more about the sector-specific support for experienced economy businesses later on. And last but not least, you will not be exporting if you don't have an overseas market destination. And for that reason, we recently launched our international markets offer, where different DBT teams and also our overseas staff, they'll bring to you the most insightful presentations about the respective regions and the immense business opportunities for British companies in all those regions. We recently had an event on the US and also Germany, and the next market event will be doing business in Poland. So all these workshops, they're all available through registering on our website, grade.gov.uk website, and you can see the website address here at the bottom of the slide. And when you sign up for the Export Academy, you can enroll on any of these webinars listed here. And also, if you log on our website regularly, you will see all courses, all workshops and masterclasses that we're running. And believe me, there are lots of them. We're going to be very, very busy in the next few months. Well, I think that's all from me. Thank you a lot for listening. And I hope to see you soon at our workshops. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vera. What a vibrant and comprehensive programme you offer. It's my first insight into the Export Academy, and I think I'll definitely be taking a look at some of those opportunities and offers. So thank you very much for that. Right, I'd now like to move on and introduce Pete Chapman, who is the Creative Industry Specialist Advisor at the Department for Business and Trade. Now, where Vera, through her offer of the Export Academy, is really talking to multiple businesses through that programme. I think Pete is not to preempt what he's saying, but I think Pete will describe some of the kind of more bespoke services that the Department for Business and Trade can offer with regard people's export ambitions. So over to you, Pete.
Thank you, Emily, and good morning, everyone. And thank you to Vera for that presentation on the Export Academy. So quick introduction. So my name is Pete Chapman. I'm an International Trade Advisor, or ITA for short, and also a Creative Industries Sector Specialist. And I'm based in the Midlands region, so I only cover the regions. And by the way, that picture on the slide isn't me, as you can see. But I just chose what I thought would be quite a nice, cool image. So a little bit of background. I've been an ITA for about 11 years. And before that, I had a career in retail and the music industry. And I spent more than 10 years living and working in Japan. So a little bit about me. If we can move to the next slide, please. Okay, so this next slide is a little bit about the department. So DBT, if you didn't know, is a government department. And this slide just summarises what we do. I'm not going to read through it. You will get the slides, so please have a read through yourself. But just to point out, some of you might know us as DIT, and some of you might even have known us as UKTI going back a few years. So we do kind of change our name every now and again just to confuse people. But quite recently, DIT and the business department bays merged to become the Department for Business and Trade. So we're now the department to help business both in the UK and also internationally. I focus on the trade side of things. So the trade element is our role is very much to support UK companies to export their goods or their services. Okay, if you can move on to the next slide, please. These are just a few bullet points that just to help me kind of like talk through a few points. And I kind of want to focus a little bit about the role of an international trade advisor, or ITA for short. So Vera just talked about the Export Academy offer, and just to stress, that is one of the department's flagship programs. And we actually piloted in the Midlands a couple of years ago, and it's really developed since then. And it's a fantastic program. But kind of think of that as the one-to-many offer, as Emily just kind of mentioned. The webinars, the workshops, you can dip in and out. And it's great for companies that are small or new to export, but as Vera said, also great for bigger, larger organizations that might want to brush up on their skills or have some new stuff. But another part of DBT's core offer is the ITA service. So think of this as the one-to-one support. So I've got on here the English regions. So in the English regions, we're split up into 3 super regions. So we have the Northern Powerhouse, the Midlands, where I'm based, and the South. And we also have support available in the nations, if that's where you're from. And what I would say is to get the most of what DBT can offer, I really recommend that you get to know an ITA. We will be the main point of contact, and as the relationship develops, we can then introduce you to the wider DBT support. So whether that's regional specialists, so as I said, I'm an ITA, but I'm also a creative specialist in the Midlands. And obviously we have specialists in other sectors. We also have thematic advisors. So in the Midlands, we have 2 really, really skilled digital trade specialists that can help with looking at your website and your digital strategy when you're thinking about international. We have other support available as well. We work on lots of UK events, overseas trade missions, and Richard will talk about those in a while. We also work with the HQ sector team. So I work quite closely with Richard Parry and the team in HQ, the creative sector team. Also we got our overseas teams as well. So Vera mentioned this. So we have DBT staff all over the world. So I used to work in Tokyo. We have DBT staff based at the embassies and the consulates, and also we have a network of delivery partners. So, through the discussions with an ITA, if you felt that you wanted to target a particular market, we can help you link into the teams on the ground in a particular country. I wanted to mention a little bit about eligibility that I've put on here. So it is a guide, but I think as ITAs, we tend to work with companies that have a turnover of 500k or more. Now that it's a guideline, so it's just to help us. But if you're just to manage expectations, if you're a completely new company, or if you're new and you've got very, very low turnover, then we really do recommend that you start with the Export Academy. You work through that, you get your knowledge, you get the skills, and then as you build up turnover here in the UK, you can then start to contact an ITA to look at little things further. So that is a guideline, but I just wanted to manage expectations there. That's roughly how we work. Okay, so just scrolling down to my notes here. So in terms of I've had to kind of access or contact an ITA. So I'm hoping that a lot of you on the call already have an ITA and you have a good relationship with them. If you have, fantastic, that's brilliant. Maybe you've had contact in the past, but for whatever reason that relationship has lapsed, and that happens. So if you do have a contact, just maybe reach out and say hi if the time is right for you. I will note that our emails have changed, so you can see mine on the screen there. So it's now the name of the ITA at businessandtrade.gov.uk. I think the old emails will be forwarded on for a while, but just in case, just to let you know the emails have changed. So if you've already got an ITA, great. If you've had one in the past and you want to catch up, then please reach out to them. However, if you're completely new to all of this, completely new to DBT, what I would recommend is you have a look at our website, which is great.gov.uk. Now, I can't screen share, I'm afraid, but I think we can maybe, Vanessa's going to kindly put that into the chat. And I had it on another screen and I just need to log in. So I've have a look now, or have a look another time, but so it should come up with the great.gov.uk website, and it should say made in the UK, sold to the world, and that is the new branding we have in the UK. And there's all sorts of information on there, some real basics about, learn to export, where to export, make a plan, some of the basics. But then if you scroll down, you've got the link to the Export Academy, so everything that Vera just spoke through, you can access more information there, and then you can register. We also have the Export Support Service, so if you have a particular inquiry, maybe technical or something like that, then there is the Export Support Service where you can ask a specific question. So that's one of the offers we have. And also on there, we have the Contact an International Trade Advisor. So if you don't have one, or you don't know where to get one, you can follow that link. You put in your postcode where your business is registered or where your business operates, and that will tell you where your local office is, and then you can send in an email and somebody will get in touch. So that's how you can kind of access our support if you're new to it. So that's the website. So if you were looking at that, maybe go back to the presentations. Right, so I'm just going to go down. So I just wanted to finish with a case study. So Vanessa, if you can move to the next slide for me, please. Sorry, the colour's a little bit difficult to read some of this, but this is just a case study from a company in the Midlands. It isn't a creative one, but I thought it was quite nice. So this is a lovely quote from the founder of the business about her working with her ITA, one of my colleagues, Susie Bolton. And it's just nice about how the ITA just really helped the company through that journey. And it just kind of proves to me where the ITA is that point of contact, and they can help the company access bits of DBT support when it's needed at the right time. So as you can see, started off with signposting to the Export Academy. There's a referral to a digital trade advisor. Susie helped with putting a plan together. There was an introduction to our teams overseas, access to funding. Over the years, we've had grants, and if you may know that, we don't at the moment. A lot of the funding has dried up in terms of European funding, but we hope to get some kind of funding in the future, and the ITAs are always the best person to speak to about that. But the ITAs are also a good source of information for funding that might be available from other support organisations. general advice and support. And again, we're kind of linked into other partners and other support organisations as well. So I just thought that was a nice little case study just to kind of show how ITAs can support. And again, the ITA, I just say, is your point of contact that can link you into the rest of the organisation. So I'm going to stop there, Emily, if that's okay. Hopefully I've stuck to my 10 minutes. Yeah, save your questions to the end. But yeah, I'll stop there if that's okay.
Thank you so much, Pete. That's really comprehensive and whistle-stop tour through, again, an excellent suite of services. And I see from the chat that there's already a lot of interest in people needing to seek out their trade advisors. So that's obviously sparked a lot of interest. Thank you very much. Right now, we'd like to move on to talk about the broader platforms and support that are offered by the Department for Business and Trade, particularly in the experience economy sector, which is where we all come from in Experience UK. And I'm delighted to introduce Richard Parry, the Experience Economy Lead at DBT, to talk through the team and the support available through that team. Thanks, Richard.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me because my internet connection isn't all that brilliant. And I should also say I might have to dash off at some point because my smoke detector is malfunctioning and it's going off every 15 minutes. So I'm hoping it won't happen during the next 5 or 10 minutes. Well, thanks very much for tuning in. This is who we are. This is a series of photographs from the Donald Trump School of Photography, mugshots to end all mugshots. I'm the team leader. Rosmin works on experience economy stuff. Barry is more of a specialist on design, architecture, and crafts. Graham Ellis is our man in the GCC, pretty much. He spends half his life there. He's our Gulf expert. The Arabian Peninsula, a hugely important market for us. I should also mention Neil Semple, my colleague. We divide the creative industries into two lumps, really. Creative services, which is obviously the more important part, which is what I do and my team does. And then we've got some stuff that they call creative content, you know, just the $1 million businesses of film, TV, publishing, and games, and all of that, which is led by Neil. But we have broadly similar approaches to export support, which I'll now run through. Vanessa, if I could have the next slide, please. Essentially, I want to try and explain what we do, what we're about. I suppose events are something that we're all deeply familiar with. We work extensively with Experience UK on a number of trade shows overseas. You'll all be familiar with that concept. We do trade missions as well, but we tend to try to do very specialized missions. I'm thinking of Saudi Arabia in particular. We've taken missions that deal with hospitality and then separately ones that deal with cultural heritage. We try to do very targeted missions rather than general ones. Our priority markets around the world are probably pretty unsurprising. USA, birthplace of the experience economy in some ways, that's important to us. Greater China, go back again, thanks. Greater China, for us, Hong Kong is rather more relevant than China itself because it's a market that's a bit more mature in the experience economy field. And the Arabian Peninsula is a massive priority for us. You'll probably all be familiar with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 project, which is really transformational in terms of creating a tourism and a leisure infrastructure. And it's almost limitless in its potential, so important for us. And over the last 10 years, Dubai and the UAE has been a significant market for us as well, culminating to some extent in Expo 2020, which was a significant success for the UK creative sector. We try to act as a focus point for the experience economy and the wider creative industries within Whitehall. A number of departments have an interest in what we do, DCMS, FCDO, for example. But we try to be champions for our sector in the Whitehall machine. And I think our main role is to understand to understand the UK sector. What is it that we can do? What is it that we can offer? And part of the reason for creating Experience UK, which Ian runs, is that until a few years ago, we didn't have a handle on who was doing stuff in experiential products and services. It was such a widespread set of disciplines, and we've tried to pull that together under the umbrella of Experience UK. And we have similar trade associations, as you would expect, for design and crafts and architecture and so on and so forth. Moving on to advice, well, I see that this has gone in twice. Someone's obviously making a point here about how old we all are, with 120 years experience between us. But we do have a certain amount of knowledge and tribal wisdom to offer, and we're very keen to share that with you. Under Connect, what it should have said was something along the lines of, every piece of business ever done started with a conversation. And our job is to create conversations by connecting UK supply and overseas demand through our international network. And everything we do is predicated on the belief that if you don't start a conversation, you won't do business. Last slide, please, Vanessa. Well, none of this will come as a huge surprise to Experience UK members. We try to create a network of contacts within the UK and overseas. In key markets, we have dedicated DBT personnel, but we also work in non-priority markets. In fact, I'm deeply engaged in Kazakhstan at the moment, for example. And we really aim to create a grid of people that we can talk to and connect to enable business to happen, to try to be the oils in the wheels. I mentioned a bit earlier the trade show program. We have a series of, I think it actually is nearer 30 than 20 trade shows across creative services and creative content that we cover. Here are just a few of them. In our world, so to speak, the IAPA family of shows, terribly important, the ones in Orlando and Saudi Arabia, Europe. MAPIC, which is a kind of leisure retail event in the south of France. The Saudi Entertainment and Attractions Show, increasingly important every year. And our colleagues on the content side do massive work in South by Southwest, Games Development Conference in San Francisco, Kids Screen, which is, as you might imagine, for kids TV and film content, and Cannes Lion, which is a big advertising event, unsurprisingly held in Cannes. Perhaps an understood element of what we do is market research. We work extensively with Experience UK to commission and help support insights into experience economy opportunities overseas in various markets. These are just a few of them that we've covered over the years. I mentioned tailor-made trade missions in Saudi Arabia. And I think importantly, it's good to finish with the fact that the world is a big place. And even though we may have just 3 or 4 key markets, every market is potentially important. And every market is something that we have ambitions to cover. And every market almost certainly has an appetite for the products and services that you have. One quick plug for Experience on Main Street, which is a concept we devised during lockdown, during COVID, when we started to think about how experiential products and services could help downtown areas get revitalized. Lack of footfall killed our industry. As you can imagine, it's almost completely dependent on footfall. And we started to find there were loads of UK companies who had stuff that you could put into a high street or a main street to try to bring it back to life, encourage footfall, encourage people to dwell, get back into the office and all that kind of thing. And as a testament to its power, we're deep in conversation at the moment with the city of San Francisco, which is suffering immensely from everyone wants to work from home. Tourism has dropped due to adverse publicity about the state of downtown in San Francisco. And the San Franciscans heard about us. We didn't go to them. They found out what we were doing. And we're hoping to take a targeted group of companies to San Francisco in the next few months to try and help solve their problems. Emily, I think I'll stop there. My allotted time is almost up. My smoke alarm hasn't gone off. What a triumph. And look forward to any questions that we might have at the end. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Richard. That was, again, a really, really helpful presentation. And again, I just really like to endorse the vision that you have held for our sector and how productive that has been, and the responsiveness that DBT has been able to show in response to opportunities as they have arisen. So I think that I think I would urge the members to keep this dialogue going, because as opportunities arise, Richard and his team have been incredibly great advocates for this, for our sector, and how we can really kind of get ahead in new marketplaces and develop new opportunities. So thank you so much. Now, finally, I'd like to introduce our very own CEO of Experience UK, Ian Clapperson, who will talk about how Experience UK supports its members in terms of their export ambitions, and in a whole suite of incredibly valuable, creative and tactical on-the-ground opportunities that get us right into new markets. So over to you, Ian. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. I'm acutely aware time's ticking, so I'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. But just to give you a little bit of an overview, Experience UK is a trade body set up by Richard Parry, which I now run, that helps companies that design, create, deliver and operate world-class visitor experiences. A lot of the activity that we do at Experience UK is very much delivered hand in glove with Department for Business and Trade, and they act as principal stakeholder in many of the different elements that we undertake. To ensure that we deliver as an organisation in terms of the needs of DBT and also our membership. We have an executive board who's made up of key industry players, and together with DBT that helps shape the objectives and initiatives that we undertake. So that's just the mission statement for Experience UK. Obviously, we'll make this presentation available after the call. And then that's the executive board, a few faces that people will probably recognise straight away. And we meet 4 times a year to make sure that we're really ticking the boxes on member needs. Don't need to go into this too much, but that's just a snapshot of some of the sectors that our members work across. Some sectors are larger than others, such as cultural heritage and museums, theme parks, but increasingly the FEC High Street shopping mall environment, which Richard touched on, is becoming increasingly important for a lot of our members, and there's a lot of potential for growth in that particular market sector. So in numbers, our members employ over 6,290 members of staff. We've just completed the annual survey, and you can see that the membership generates a substantial sum of money, which contributes to the UK economy, and of that, a significant sum is actually export activity. And it's been really pleasing to see on this year's survey, in comparison to last year, the actual growth in the revenue that our members are generating, especially in export, which all points back to everything getting back to normal post-COVID. In terms of membership, we represent twofold. So we've got the attractions operators and also trade product services and providers, which literally range from everybody from sort of architecture through to experiential design, through to a lot of technology-based companies that do all of the amazing stuff that goes into creating stellar visitor experiences. So how do we support our members? So throughout the year, as I briefly mentioned and Richard's touched on, we work very much hand in hand with the Department for Business and Trade to create a programme of activity which is tailored to what members require. So key areas that we focus on are major events such as the IAPAs and the Saudi Entertainment Expo. research the intelligence in terms of the reports that we produce. Some are done jointly with DBT, some we're working on independently. We also provide tender service to our members, which is daily, and in the last 12 months we've shared over £100 billion worth of tenders with our members on a daily basis. Business support that we provide. We've also got market industry reports, which I've just touched on. It's on there twice for some reason. And also networking is a really big thing in our sector as well. So wherever we can create a networking opportunity, whether that be through a member social day or some social activity based around the events. So just briefly touched on over 3,600 tender notices shared in the last financial year, a cumulative of £100 billion worth of tenders. We send those out on a daily basis to all of our members, and members also have the ability to have both bespoke reports generated by our provider. So that could be bespoke market reports, or it could be bespoke reports on a particular product or service that you're looking to export and tender. The reports we've produced to date, so we did quite a large report which focused on the Gulf region. A huge section on that was pointing towards Saudi and the vast array of opportunities that exist in that particular marketplace. We've also produced one on Eastern Europe, and off the back of that one with Eastern Europe, that led to a trade mission which took place earlier this year to Azerbaijan to uncover opportunities in that particular marketplace, and we delivered that in partnership with DBT, and there's been lots of interesting conversations and lots of opportunities for members to get involved, and I believe we're going to be delivering a webinar on Azerbaijan very soon. And again, you know, we've touched on a few times, the high street is pretty prevalent in terms of experiences now filling the void of retail. So experience is now becoming the draw into lots of towns and city centres, high streets around the world. So the report we produced with DBT at the back end of last year very much focuses on UK activity. But we're also going to be building on that, as Rich has touched on, with things happening in San Francisco. So as an organisation, we've got a vast array of databases with thousands of contacts spanning most of the industry sectors that we're involved with. Just to give you an indication, we had a member the other week wanting to get in touch with a particular person or department at 7 ventures in Saudi, and using our vast databases, we were able to identify the correct connection that person accordingly. So that's open to all members. So, you know, if members are struggling for particular contacts within organisations, then we've got the ability to find that data and connect you. Major events that we do quite a lot of pavilions, which a lot of you might have seen at major events. The majority of what we do is developed and delivered in partnership with DBT, and in some cases DBT lead on the activity, and Experience UK support them on a marketing and communications basis around the event. Many of you will probably remember London last year, which was probably the largest IAPA pavilion we've ever done, at some 160 square meters with a huge red bus in the center of the pavilion, and we also did an afternoon tea as well, which went down really well and connected a lot of people. So we've got a very similar program happening over the next 12 months. Saudi, we did this year, was exceptionally big, and we've already had a good uptake of companies wanting to participate with us again for 2024. We also do our own events as well. So we started to work on a lot of webinar activity such as this. We've also just delivered one on doing business in Japan, which is a precursor to Expo 2025, which is going to have a vast array of opportunities for members to tap into. We've got a second webinar coming up on that, which will be announced hopefully next week, which will delve a little bit further into the opportunities around Expo 2025. And we're working quite closely with the DBT teams over in Japan to deliver that activity and some associated support around that Expo. We also do member mixer days as well. So we did our first one back in January this year, where we had a nice section of members, and we went to the Johnny Walker experience up at Edinburgh for a fantastic day out. We've got more of those coming online. And this year we've also launched the Experience on Main Street conference, which happened in Leicester in April. And that was our vehicle to bring to life a lot of the research that Emily undertook on the Experience on Main Street piece of research. And we're in communications, as Richard's mentioned, about that going to San Francisco. And we're also speaking to organisers of a significant conference next May to potentially do something around that. Resources, we've got the Experience UK website. We deliver our members newsletter on a monthly basis, weekly newsletter. We've got 14,500 subscribers to that. And then we produce the Experience UK guide annually, which had some 40,000 page views over the last 12 months, and then some bespoke stuff that we've done. Experience on Main Street, which is a bible of products and services that can help revitalise that space. And we also did one to wrap up with UK creative industries at Expo 2020, which has served as a handover tool for Expo 2025. And finally, we work with quite a lot of stakeholders and partners because we can't do everything ourselves. So we work with a lot of organisations which can potentially support and help you along the way, such as people with specialists in currency exchange, PR and communications, travel and logistics, when you're out in market, insurance and risk management, shipping and logistics, tenders and procurement. And we've started to work as with this webinar on the UK Export Academy, and hopefully we'll be delivering a few more webinars in association with them. So finally, if you're not a member of Experience UK and you want to find out a little bit more, if you drop me an email, I'll put that in the chat, and also the website address as well, so you can find out a little bit more about what we do and how we can support you. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you so much, Ian, for again an incredibly vibrant presentation of such an extensive offer through Experience UK, from business insights through to practical platforms where people can engage and meet new people. It's a really great offer. So we've come to the end, and I have seen on the chat, I've been kind of reviewing that for questions, that most of the questions have been very specific, and Vanessa in the Experience UK team has been absolutely brilliant at answering all of you individually. So I think that we probably, unless there are any other questions that are coming in, I think it's probably time to wrap up and to thank all of our participants. Thank you so much to Vera Grantham from the UK Export Academy. Thank you so much to Richard Parry, the Experience Economy Lead for the Department for Business and Trade, to Pete Chapman, Creative Industries Specialist Advisor at DBT, and Ian Clafferson, CEO of Experience UK. And I'm sure you'll agree that across those great bodies, there's a huge wealth of information, experience and opportunities that can really help companies in their export journey. Thank you so much for joining us all. Thank you, team. And see you all at the next one.
Thanks, Emily. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.